Hey everybody. So I got a couple of new makeup brushes and I wanted to show you them and talk about them a little bit, and then I thought, you know what, this might be a good time to talk about all my favorite current makeup brushes that I use, or I should say makeup brushes and tools, because I have 4, 5, 6, 7, I have 8 tools, makeup brushes, on the table in front of me, and I'm going to go over each one and tell you what I use them for. I have a ton more, but these are the ones that I use all the time at the moment. And I've noticed that, that can change over time. Like, you go through what you have and you go, oh, I haven't used this brush in a while. I think I'll play around with that. And so you develop new favorites over time. So these are the ones that are my current favorites. Let me start with the new ones that I got. They're from Rite Aid and the brand is called Renewal. Now, I've showed you one brush by them before, so I just picked up 2 new ones, and this is what this one looks like. And this is the angled blush brush, but what I use this for is contouring. The Rite Aid Renewal brushes are cruelty-free because they are synthetic bristles and they are very, very soft. You know how a lot of times when you buy brushes with synthetic bristles, they're like uncomfortable on your skin? These are really soft. You would never even know that they were synthetic. So I bought this for contouring, not for blush. And because, as a lot of you may remember, I bought the MAC Sculpting powder, and so this just makes it a little bit easier to get right in there. And because the brushes are so soft, it doesn't pick up as much product. If I used something with a stiffer bristle, it would be picking up and applying more product. And this is a brown powder, so I don't want a ton of it on my face. I want to use enough of it that I can contour, but not so much that you can actually see it. I know different people have different opinions about contouring. Some people definitely contour much stronger and harder than others, but I don't want it to be too noticeable. I don't want people to look at my face and go, oh wow, look how much contour powder she's using. I don't want you to be able to notice it. So this is perfect for that, and that is the Renewal Angled Blush Brush. And I actually still have the box that it came in. And this is only from Rite Aid because this is their brand of makeup brushes. And the other new one that I got is the Smudger brush. And it looks like this. And this is quite different than the smudger brush that I had been using. I had been using the Real Techniques accent brush, and this is a lot wider. And did I show you the box? There's what the box looks like. This is a lot wider, so it picks up a lot more product. When I was using the Real Techniques one, it was very precise. And this, I feel like I can spread it out easier, and it isn't depositing quite as much product in a concentrated manner. So this makes it look a little more blended and subtle than when I was using the other brush. Matter of fact, I should show you, just for comparison purposes, what I was using before. Okay. Yeah, accent brush. Okay, this is what I was using before, and now this is the Rite Aid one. So this is quite a bit wider. So this is my new favorite for dragging. I don't really like to use eyeliner that much. I like to use eyeshadow as eyeliner. So, and then I just drag a little bit down along the lower lash line. And I have been experimenting with also pressing this along the lashes on my lid too, but I don't like that as much because My eyes are quite hooded, and I feel like when I put liner along the top lid, it just closes off that eye space even more. So that's the second new one. And then while we're on the subject of the Rite Aid Renewal brushes, I'll show you the one that I already had. And this is just they just call it the eyeshadow brush. And what I use this for is my crease. I use this to blend shadow into my crease and outer corner, and it works really well for that. The other brush that I also use for that same purpose is my e.l.f. Studio C brush, and this has more of a shape like the new smudger brush, except it's not as big. But even though these two are shaped completely different, they both work really well for crease work or outer corner work. So I like either one of those. It just depends, I guess, on my mood. Now, for laying down product on my eyelids, I really like the MAC 239 shader brush. And I don't really use that many of my department store brushes, which is really strange because I have an assortment of brushes, but I tend to favor the less expensive ones from drugstores and Target and places like that. I don't know. I just use what works. I don't pay attention to how much I paid for it, but for applying shadow to my eyelid, I would normally use the MAC 239 brush. Now, there are exceptions. For example, today I used MAC Bare Study Paint Pot on my eyelid and into the crease, and I just used my finger to apply that. I find that with liquid and cream products, my fingers just work better than with brushes. So anyways, I put Bare Study Paint Pot on my eyelids and crease. Then I took this MAC 224 brush and I applied Physicians Formula Natural Eyelight. I just dusted this all over the Bare Study Paint Pot. So it depends what I'm using for a product, but normally for whatever is going on my eyelid, I'm going to either use the 239 or the 224. And then for my highlight, I've been doing that whole Vanilla Pigment thing lately, so I just use my finger to blend that in. But that's because of the nature of the product, because it's such a clumpy product that if you dipped a brush in that container, it would just go all over the place. Now for my face, I usually do my blush with the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. And this actually can be used for foundation also, but as you know, now I use a Beauty Blender sponge for my foundation. By the way, you'll never guess what I found out about this. Remember I told you that when I was doing my video where I was talking about this Beauty Blender, that I had tried to get it at Sephora and they said, oh, we don't carry it anymore. And then I ended up having to order it online from Nordstrom. I could have also ordered it online from Sephora, but went with Nordstrom for the free shipping. But anyway, this is being carried now at Walgreens. So if they pulled this out of Sephora, I'm wondering if, I seriously doubt that this would be like a Walgreens exclusive or anything like that. And the price is the same if you just buy an individual sponge by itself without it being part of a kit. It's $19.95. And so I saw it at Walgreens. So now I would assume that if you can get it at Walgreens, you're probably going to start seeing it at Rite Aid, CVS, Target. I would imagine. I can't imagine why it would be exclusive to Walgreens. But yeah, so that's going to be so much more convenient now. People will just be able to pick them up wherever. So start looking for that. If you're interested in this and you didn't want to order online, you can now start looking at just, regular, everyday neighborhood stores. So I thought I would mention that, but back to what I was saying. used to use this for foundation. This is one of the brushes that I used to use for foundation, but now I find it works really well for blush just because of the size of it, and I don't know, it blends really nice, and it's just about the right size for the job for blush. And I use my Beauty Blender exclusively now for my foundation. So that is what I am currently using for brushes. Those are my favorite. I could easily live with just these things and not have any of the other brushes that I own. The only other brush that I do use sometimes is my lip brush, and that is just like a generic lip brush that I picked up at a discount store for next to nothing. So when it comes to lip brushes, I don't really have anything that is like a wow lip brush, and that's on my mental wish list of something that I would like to get in the future that was a nice lip brush. So I'll see you next time, you guys, and I hope this video was helpful in some way, and that's it. Bye.